Hey guys, my name is Andre, and I'm part of the Rigatoni Pastabots. We are a robotics team doing a bit of a project here where we want to promote STEM skills. STEM, in case you didn't know, is a group of fields that stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So these are all your jobs like your engineers, mathematicians, scientists, anything in there that's STEM. So the biggest tool of anyone working in STEM is going to be their computer. Computers are very important. So what I'm going to try to teach you today is just some very basic computer navigation skills. So with that said, let's get started. So when you open up your computer, the first thing you're going to see is your desktop. Your desktop, you can kind of think of as your main workspace on your computer. This is like the area where you can view and manage everything else on your computer. So just some basic terminology here. What you see in these corners, these little images, these are your icons. These are shortcuts to any program that you want to have quick access to. Down here, this entire bar here, this is the taskbar. Once again, similar to icons, you're going to put your frequently used programs down here so that you can access them quickly. And over here, in this corner, this is very important, this is the start menu. Your start menu, is like your desktop, but a more condensed version. So you can pretty much access everything on your computer very quickly through here if you know what you're looking for. So now just continuing with some more basic ideas. So let's talk a bit about the most common application on your computer. That's going to be your web browser. So every computer is going to have a web browser installed on it when you begin using it. It might not always look the same, but on my computer it's going to be this Google Chrome. On yours you might see Internet Explorer, you might see Edge, you might see Firefox, but they all function in very similar ways. So I'm just kind of talking about mine. This is Google Chrome. So once you want to start the application, very simple, you'll just double click and it should bring you straight to a tab like this, an image like this. So some more basic terminology is up here at the top of the screen. You're going to see some very important things. The three buttons at the top right here are the most important. First off, there's this dash. This is going to be your minimize button. You'll see a box here. This is going to be either like your maximizing button or your restoring button. And finally, you're going to have an X, which will close out this application. And then on the other side of the screen, these are called your tabs. Your tabs, you'll see right here, if I create a new one, are different instances, let's say, of the same program. So I can do something totally separate in this one. Let's just say I'll search up Google. And so now I can work on two independent things. So you don't want to work in the same tab. You want to split up your work into more than one tab so that you can increase your productivity. Let's get rid of this one for now. So let's talk about these a bit more now. The minimize button is going to completely bring it down, but it's different from the closing out button, as in it still exists, but it just brings you back to your desktop. So if you don't want to lose what you're doing, you'll use the minimize button. This one is going to restore down here. If you click this, it's going to make the tab smaller and still allow you to access anything on your desktop, but you can still work in here without going to the taskbar like the minimize button would make you do. Another important thing about this one is if you create another tab here, you can then move tabs and have two tabs open completely separately. Once again, important if you want to work on stuff independent of each other. You could say be typing something up here and reading something over here. It's just very important to know these basic concepts so that you can work at your best. So let's get rid of one. Once again, now that I've hit this button once, when I hit it again, it's going to turn into the maximize button, which will bring it up to how we opened it. Finally, this X button, I said the close button. When you hit it, it completely closes it out. It will get rid of everything that you were working on. So if you wanted to access that stuff again, it would be best to use the minimize button instead. Last little basic terminology thing here. This is called your address bar. If you've ever seen an address for the internet, it's usually like https://. Well, anything that you type in here, if you type in a proper address, it will take you directly to that web page. This is like the exact address. If you have it, you would type it in up here. In contrast, this down here is going to be your search bar. If you're just looking for like simple keywords, you would type it in down here instead, like that Google. This, for instance, is that exact internet address of Google. You wouldn't want to type this in exactly, so instead you would use the basic search bar and type it in here. So last thing that we're going to talk about real quick is called having windows. So let's say I open up an instance of Google Chrome. So now I have two tabs. Now we will make this a bit smaller. Like I said earlier, if I had two different instances of Google Chrome open up here, these are now no longer on the same tab bar. So these are called two different windows. So let's say I maximize this one. Well, you'll see it only shows I have one tab open. But if you go down to your taskbar here, you can see that my taskbar is showing me that I'm having two groups of windows open. So I maximize both. They're not on the same tab bar, but they still both are there. So it can be a bit confusing if you're not sure what's happening. You might not be aware of where your different searches or your different tabs are going. But you can also make use of this. A very simple keyboard command. If you hold down the Alt button and the Tab button, it's going to bring you between each of these different windows. So let's say I'm searching Google on one, and let's say I want to get to my other one quickly. Well, there you go. And then I can go back to everything on my computer very quickly. Just X bar closes all of that out. So I know that was just some very basic concepts, but with just that stuff alone, you can definitely research and interact with the web a lot easier once you know these basic things. Having more than one tab open, having more than one window open, these are very simple things, but can make your time on the internet much, much simpler. So stick around. We'll probably have more videos on this channel about different STEM skills, probably some more about computer navigation. That's all for this one. Hopefully next time we'll get into maybe some slightly more complex things involving this the start menu and different file folders and applications such as that. That is all for this video. Watch everyone else's videos on the channel. Okay.